name is Michael. I've been privileged to ask to tell my story about alcohol and drug, how I started and how I am today. I come from Dymchurch in Kent, which is a small village, and life started out quite normally, but the only trouble is I will explain a little bit about the family background. There were three brothers and a sister, and my family started off and it had problems in the very beginning, and actually when I was sent from a boarding school for my reading and writing, everything was fine. I had a few good years, exciting years. Then I left school, went home and started my employment. I was mentioning to a gentleman earlier on about my reading and writing, that played a big part in my life because I was dyslexic and I had a minimum a choice of a job, so I went into catering. My first job I had, I thought it was marvellous. I got my first wage packet and I did what most people on the planet did. I became a man and I decided to have my first glass of alcohol, the way we put it, in recovery, and it was one of about 30 odd years of drinking. The first day I went into the pub, I got drunk, and that's the way it was for many years. I got into trouble with the police very, very quickly after that because I started behaving not what you call normally. The alcohol changed my personality quickly. I started thieving and other things started to come along. I got sent away to a reprove school for a while. When I came out, I went back to the family home, and what happened, I turned the light on. There was no light, no furniture. They decided to move. So I had my first night sleeping in a barn on the street for about 3 years. I thought that was okay at the age of 16 to about 20. I could sleep out anywhere I wanted to, I could do what I liked, but it didn't quite work out that way. In a few years I found that I landed up in hospital having overdoses for drink and drugs and prison, and things started to get uncomfortable. A gentleman from the Salvation Army Cathedral spoke to me at 11 o'clock in a public house, and he asked me if I could have spend some time with me, and I went to his house and he started to try to show me the errors of my way. He tried to introduce me to another way of living, a trust in he called God, who could give me peace and security, and he told me on no uncertain terms if I carried on drinking and drugging I would have a very painful existence. So what I did, I started going to church. I don't know why I responded to him, because over 20 odd years I never did nothing but drinking or drugging. Sometimes I get my days wrong, my time wrong, because my life started to get out of shape. But this man introduced me to faith in God in this small Salvation Army church where I was brought up, and I accepted this newfound faith and I started to go to church. For the first time I stopped drinking. I held a job down for about a year, but the only trouble is I had this stuff inside of me that wouldn't let me go. I said to the man, I can't understand this religion, it's giving me a headache, and I told him quite firmly I understood what alcohol did and how it made me feel, but I can't grasp this Christian lifestyle. So it was in and out of church for about another 20 odd years. I moved to London. I lived in the Salvation Army Hospital for about 11 years. I kept on trying to get a job, tried to get a flat. Every time I got a job, I got a flat. The alcohol and the drugs wouldn't let me achieve anything. Eventually I started begging on the tube station, at the railway station, outside the McDonald's place, and I used to find out begging was quite an easy way to get drink or drugs, and I must say I was ashamed of it then, but I wasn't at the time, because I couldn't work anymore, because no one would employ me anymore. So it was just drinking, drugging, thieving, whatever got me by I did. But I thank God. I want to try to tell you what happened to me in 1995. I got seriously ill. I was in the Salvation Army hospital at Whitechapel called Booth House, and a gentleman, he said to me, "You're a very sick young man," and he left it at that. This was just after Easter in 1996. He phoned up a detox at Poplar, which was run by the Salvation Army, and he told me to get down at 9:30 Monday morning. I said to him, why? He said, don't ask any questions, just get on the bus and get down there. I knocked onto the door of this rehab, this detox, and a man of 23 years sober spoke to me, and he said, what can I do for you? I said, I was told to come and see you. I spoke to him for no more than 1 minute, and he said, you're just a raving alcoholic and you must come in here. And I said, okay. The moment I went through that door, I cried like a baby for at least a fortnight, and I become as weak could be. I couldn't speak, I couldn't think, I had no sort of energy left. I was totally broken. But what they did to me after 2 weeks in the detox, they sent me to a wonderful place called the Crypt. It was a Church of England church with a basement which was turned into a rehab centre. They accepted me there in 1996. I stayed in there for 6 months, and I went to a faith meeting and I had therapy, and the man said to me, would you like to become a born again Christian? I said to him, I was a believer before, but I didn't have it in me. But something told me, if I don't go out of this rehab, physically, mentally and spiritually in working order, I would be in rehab for the rest of my life. But what I did, I made a commitment, and that was in 1996. I went through the rehab system, the second stage out, but had to go in again. But today, I want to tell you the joy of recovery. I'm what is called an overcomer. I'm 14 years clean and sober. I haven't had a drink or a drug for 14 years. I have the joy of being married for 13 years. This lady accepted me because she's a Christian. She believed what I did put down the drink and drugs, and I was living a more wholesome way of living. What I want to try to convey to you today, I'm not an elegant speaker. All I am is a person who was down in what they call the pit, up to my neck, just about finished. But what happened, I'm alive today, and I know it's because of Jesus Christ is the way, the truth and the life. And I do understand now what the Bible says. I was chained up, I was bound up, and I was in this sort of prison of my addiction and alcohol. But today I want to say to anybody who having a problem with drink or drugs, there is a way out. I do go to AA. I am an overcomer. I am a person who believes that one day at a time, if you say to God you're powerless and you have no control over your addiction and your life, God says he will come in and change you. But you've got to believe that you are valuable. God says we are valuable. I didn't think at one moment that through drink and drug I would amount to anything. But I thank God today I'm alive and well, I'm working, I'm married, everything what I didn't think would be possible for me is possible. I want to just thank God for everything which has happened to me up to today. Sometimes I have to pinch myself to think if life is what it is today. But what I do know is this: if I keep on trusting and believing that God is able to help me out on a daily basis, if I put my trust and faith in him, and I haven't got to start looking around for any sort of outside pleasure or enjoyment. My enjoyment today is just getting up in the morning, drug free, alcohol free, I'm in my right mind, I'm happy, and I got what they call in the Bible serenity, and that's just peace of mind. I got peace of mind that today in 1996 I made the best decision in my life. When God said put down the drink and put down the drugs and pick up his word, the Bible, I will find a decent pathway for the rest of my existence. And what I want to say today before I finish is this: I work at a place called Acorn House down Shoreditch. It's a rehab been going on for 40 years, 16-bedroom rehab. If anybody's got a trouble, anybody needs help, just go down to 116 to 118 Shoreditch High Street and there'll be a person there to help you out of your drink and your drugs. And I go to Shiloh Church at Dalston, and it's a place where I find, it's a place where I feel at peace, I feel at home, and I know there is a place where you can just go and be accepted. So I want to just thank the person who asked me to do this, and I want to just say I'm just a happy person today. If you knew me in the past, you probably wouldn't even want to sit next to me in a cafe, because I was obnoxious, smelly, angry, and I wasn't a very nice person. But I thank God today that I can go anywhere today where I want with my head held high, knowing that I've come to the conclusion that there's some things in this world, like drink and drugs, they offer so much but they give nothing. So I thank God for the opportunity to just tell my story about you know, just coming out of the darkness and being able to see the light of day.